It's happened again. I somehow find myself with who knows how many library books. So let's do a library haul. Somehow, every year, at least once or twice a year, I end up with like 20 library books. And there was a period right now where I put like a bunch of books on hold. And of course, they always come in at the same time. First, I got Orange. I have been wanting to read this for a while. Last year, I read Attack on Titans. And so ever since then, I've been wanting to read more manga. And so I got the first volume of Orange. And I believe this is kind of like this girl or guy, I'm not sure, gets a letter about 10 years in the future. And I guess things start to happen that are from that letter. And I think there's 2 or 3 volumes like this. This is like a big one. The complete collection number 1. So I think there's also like complete collection number 2 I saw at the library. Recently, I finished Tahereh Mafi's This Woven Kingdom series. Well, at least the first 3 books, because the 4th and 5th are not out yet. So now I want to read her other stuff. I've only read the first Shatter Me book. I ended up getting the next 2 in the series, which is Unravel Me and Ignite Me. I think this is book 2 and book 3. I also got the novellas. I've already read Destroy Me. That's like from Aaron Warner's point of view, I believe. And so I think you're supposed to read number 2 and then Fracture Me and then go on to number 3, I want to say. Maybe 4 or 5. There's another novella, like 2 novellas in there somewhere. I haven't gotten them yet. I've only gotten these 3 so far. I don't think I put the other ones on hold. I think I just put these 3 on hold for now. They came in honestly really fast, so I feel like I could get the other ones pretty quickly. I also got the Queen of Sugar Hill. This was in my most anticipated books video. This is about Hattie McDaniel, and she is the first Black woman to win an Oscar. And so I feel like it's like a fictionalized version of her life. And I don't know, it just sounded so interesting. Then I got Monstrilio. Gabby from Gabby Reads, like she read this in one of her vlogs and she really liked it. And it's cool because I think this just came out in paperback. So me getting the paperback was kind of cool. I didn't realize from the library the paperback would come in because it still feels kind of new. And this is a horror novel. It follows Magos and her son passes away. And so she saves a small piece of his lung. And I guess the lung starts growing into a monster. I don't know. I feel like that sounds very interesting. So I got that one. I got another horror book. Look at this cover though. Look at that cover. It's called Diavola. The only thing it says Anna has only 2 rules for the Pace family destination vacations. Tread lightly and survive. That's all I need to know. Honestly, that's all I needed to know before I wanted to read this. And I got this one called Indian Burial Ground. I think this is a horror also. A man lunges in front of a car. An elderly woman silently drowns herself. A corpse sits up in its coffin and speaks. On this reservation, not all is what it seems in this new spine-chilling mythological horror from the author of Sisters of the Lost Nation. I haven't heard of Sisters of the Lost Nation, but mythological horror sounds really awesome. The author's Indigenous. He says he drew on personal and family experiences along with research into the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls epidemic to inspire his debut novel, Sisters of the Lost Nation. I'm gonna have to look into Sisters of the Lost Nation, especially if I like this one. I also got this. I feel like the glare from the window because of the like plastic they put on the books, it's very distracting, but I'll try and do my best. But I also got The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I have been wanting to read this for so long. I heard this was such a good book. I'm annoyed that it came in hardcover because it is out in paperback, but that's okay. I did see it at the bookstore, but I was like, if I can get it from the library, I will just get it from the library. I am still buying books this year, but I'm trying to be very specific with the books that I buy. I got this one and it says 2 strangers find themselves connected by a vast and mysterious library containing many wonders and still more secrets in this powerfully moving first book in a new series from the international bestselling author, blah, whatever. So the second book in this series also just came out. So I need to read the first one and I've heard such good things about it. This book, The Reappearance of Rachel Price, this was also on my most anticipated books, and this came in pretty quickly. It's by Holly Jackson. She wrote A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I actually really like that series. So I really wanted to read this. This is about a girl who, her mother disappeared. 16 years ago, Rachel Price vanished, and young Belle was the only witness, but she has no memory of it. Rachel is gone, long presumed dead, and Belle wishes everyone would just move on. Rachel has an unbelievable... Okay, so I guess Rachel Price reappears. and life will never be normal again. Rachel has an unbelievable story about what happened to her. Unbelievable because Belle isn't sure it's real. If Rachel is lying, then where has she been all this time, and could she be dangerous? With the camera still rolling, oh, because she's filming a true crime documentary. It says, with the camera still rolling, Belle must uncover the truth about her mother and find out why Rachel Price really came back from the dead. This one I'm going to read very soon because I'm in the mood for a thriller, and I'm excited to read this one. So then I got this one, Biography of X by Catherine Lacey, the author of Pew. I always wanted to read Pew, but I never got around to it. But I've heard really good things about this. My friend actually said that she was really interested in this book, and then I was at McNally Jackson the other day, and I heard a lady telling her friend about it and saying how good it was, and I was like, okay, I need to give it a chance. This is not something I typically read. So it says, Biography of X follows CM as she traces X's peripatetic trajectory over decades, from Europe to the ruins. So I feel like it's fictional, but it reads like it's nonfiction. So I feel like it reads like narrative nonfiction, but it's all fictional. So like I said, I had just finished Tara Mafi's last series, and I'm like itching for a YA series. I'm also reading the Mortal Instruments series. I'm on book number 3, but I have been wanting to read Defy the Night by Bridget Camire. I've never been able to pronounce her name. I have read her other series, Curse So Dark and Lonely. I've read that series before a long time ago. This is like her newest series. I think there's 3 books in this. They're already out. This is the first one, and it basically says, a king divided by corruption, the king desperately holding it together, a girl willing to risk everything to bring it all crashing down. There's something that I'm really appreciating about YA series right now, and so I want to just keep reading more of them. I also got Gothikana. This was another book that I was like not sure if I wanted to buy or not. It has beautiful illustrations in it, and if I do like it, maybe I'll end up buying it, but it's really cool. It has all these different illustrations, and it's a tale of dark romance, and I believe it's in an academic setting. It says, an unusual girl, an enigmatic man, an ancient castle, what could go wrong? An outcast her entire life, Corvina Clem is left adrift after losing her mother. When she receives the admission letter from the mysterious University of Varenmore, she accepts it as a sign from the universe. The last thing she expects, though, is an old, secluded castle on top of a mountain, riddled with secrets, deceit, and death. I had heard good things about this. Like, this shows up on like TikTok and stuff. But I remember when it got released, and it was a big deal because it had these really beautiful painted edges. And this is a book that I feel like someone who, like, you'd want on your shelf, but I've never read anything else by Runix, so I wanted to give it a try first. So I also got Assistant to the Villain. Heard a lot of people excited to read this, but I haven't actually seen anybody read it. So I need to read it and see what I like. If I like it, I believe it's a romance. The assistant to this villain, they have a little bit of a romance. So I feel like that could be fun. I also got Tender Beasts. I've been seeing this all over my Instagram from some of the people that I follow, and I've heard really, really good things about it. So I was like, okay, let me get this. I put this one on hold a long time ago, so it finally came in, and I love this cover. That's so fun. It says Sunny Berry has 4 siblings, but only one is a murderer. I'm sold. With the death of Sunny's mother, matriarch of the wealthy Berry family, Sunny's once picture-perfect life is thrown into turmoil. Her mother had groomed her to be the family's next leader, so Sunny is confused when the only instruction her mother left is a mysterious note: take care of Dom. The problem is, her youngest brother, Dom, has always been a near stranger to Sunny, and seemingly a dangerous one if found guilty of his second-degree murder charge. Still, Sunny is determined to fulfill her mother's dying wish, but when a classmate is gruesomely murdered and Sunny finds her brother with blood on his hands, her mother's simple request becomes a lot more complicated. Okay, there's more, but I feel like they're going to try to uncover if her brother actually killed this person or murdered this person. Family secrets, that's what this sounds like, and I'm excited to read this one. I also got Santuary of Shadow. There's books coming out right now that this is starting to become the norm in fantasy books, that I've seen a lot of fantasy books with this kind of painted edges. Learn your fortune, pay the price. So it says enter at your own rate. It's a circus romance. And I really like things that are set in circuses. I love the book Water for Elephants, and ever since then I've been kind of like wanting to read like another circus themed novel. And I know there's been some that have come out, but this one looks really interesting. It says, enter at your own risk and discover the greatest show on earth in this explosive, darkly imaginative debut fantasy. For humans, the circus is a place filled with wonder and amazement. For Haro, though, it's a place to hide from those who slaughtered her entire clan. Disguising her abilities as part of her act has kept her true identity safe for years, until he arrives. Always a man arriving that causes problems. A strange new attraction with no name, no memory of who or even what he is, let alone an explanation of his odd yet deadly powers. But beneath the layers of anger and isolation, one glimpse into his inky eyes reveals a soul that calls out to the loneliness in her own. So I'm assuming this is like a romance, also romance fantasy. I think it could be fun. Only 3 more books. So I also got an education in Malice. This is a Carmilla retelling, a dark academia tale of blood secrets and insatiable hunger from S.T. Gibson, author of A Dowry of Blood. I really liked A Dowry of Blood a lot. The writing in that was really beautiful. And so this is their next book, and it is a Carmilla retelling. Sounds good. A Tempest of Tea. This is vampires. That's really all I need to know because I love vampires, but I've heard mixed reviews about this book. So we'll see how I feel about it. And then last but not least, I got this book called Island Witch. First of all, this was also on one of my most anticipated books of the year. But look at the cover. It's set in 19th century Sri Lanka and inspired by local folklore. Island Witch follows the daughter of a traditional demon priest, relentlessly bullied by peers and accused of witchcraft herself, as she tries to solve the mysterious attacks that have been terrorizing her coastal village. That sounds so good. This sounds so good. This also sounds kind of like a thriller. So I feel like I'm gonna start with like the thriller books. I'm also gonna do hopefully a video where I'm like trying to read these before they're due because that's important. But that was the last book. There are 19 books, close to 20, 19 books. I have 19 books from the library and I want to see if I can actually read them before their due date. I think you get like 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm have my work cut out for me and I may have to renew some, but I'm going to try and read as many of these as possible before I have to take them back. That is my goal. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. Let me know if there's a book on here that I should start with first. Let me know if there's any vlogs that you guys want from these books. Let me know if you're excited for any of the books. But until next time, bye.